Afternoon, all. Welcome to the next this SIGiST webinar. This is the third for November. So yeah, we're really having quite a lot of sessions now, and we've got some more plans too. So really excited about that. I'll start with introducing myself. I'm Ronak Panchal. I'm the chapter lead for digital testing. Outside work, I'm also the board member for ANZTB, which is Australia New Zealand Testing Board. So we are a not-for-profit organization which look after the testing community by facilitating ISTQB certifications, making sure there's got right quality of trainings available in Australian New Zealand market, and also supporting the knowledge sharing. And SIGiST is one of those platforms wherein testers can either share their knowledge or join to learn things from one and another. So today, I'll start with giving a quick overview about the ANZTB website, and then we've got presentation by Vignesh on Azure DevOps testing best practices. Uh, Start with the website. So, in case you guys didn't know, we've got a website www.anztv.org. Uh, so few things I wanted to highlight on the website, like for example, if you want to see what we do, this is an overview page. Uh, about if you know what a mission is and what a team is, you could have a look on a page here. Anything and everything to do with the ISTQB certification, you will find the list of all the certifications here. Our official exam partner is ISTI. So for scheduling exams, you could get in either in touch with them or you could book the exam via this link here. Downloads are pretty important space. So if you want uh, to know about the glossary or the ISTQB syllabus, or even these presentations. So the presentation slides in the SIGiST forum are all uploaded here. So and this goes back a long way. So if you really want to see all the presentation that have been uh, there on this platform in the past, you could actually go to this link and you could find all the presentations here. Certified tester list really important for the organization. So people mention the ISTQB certifications on their CVs. So this is one way to verify whether the guys have taken genuine ISTQB certifications. We've got accredited training providers. All the details here. We've got a partner program that's more for organizations, something to know more about. One thing to note too is we are now the local chapter for TMMI. So if you want more details, you could visit this link here. And most importantly, the events. So these biggest events that we conduct. If you want to know more about the future events, you could come to the events page. So enough me talking. I'd like to you guys like to introduce Vignesh. Vignesh is from ASB Digital, and he's here to present his thoughts on Azure testing best practices. So, welcome, Vignesh. Thanks for making time. Over to you.
Thank you, Ronak. Hi, team. Hi, everyone. I'm Vignesh. I work as a senior performance test and automation specialist at ASB. So I have around 17 plus years of experience, and I have used all kinds of agile frameworks and methodologies in my projects. So I'm happy to take part in sharing the best practices as part of this ANZTB session. So thank you for joining my session. So today it will be like a kind of sharing session. I may ask a couple of questions or you to think, or you can ask some questions what it comes to your mind. So we'll discuss once the presentation is complete, we'll discuss on your questions. So welcome you all. Yeah. So this will be the today's agenda. So first I will be starting with the kind of introduction. Then we'll be discussing about how do we customize this process in Azure DevOps as per each of the testing team needs. And second, we'll discuss about what kind of useful extensions we have it for our whole testing life cycle. Then we'll go to the pipeline concepts and how do we build, how, in what way we need to build our pipelines for, especially for testing, and all those things we'll see. And then finally, the below chain of things are by having the testing, whole testing in Azure DevOps, how do we create visibility, and what kind of things we need to explore, or day-to-day learning, how do we do it, and finally, the most interesting thing is how do we get Microsoft certified. So we have a pathway for all those things. I will just discuss about it one by one. Yeah. So first, to start with the introduction. So plan smarter, collaborate better, and ship faster. So this is the goal or motto for Microsoft, and they started this product in 2006. If you see here, Team Foundation Server 2005. They released in 2006. So that is the starting point of this Microsoft Azure DevOps journey. So then they slowly started migrating into uh, uh, cloud environment. Initially, it was with on-premises. So then they started uh, um, coming into cloud platforms. So initially, they started the first cloud release on 2012, and recent days from starting from 2018 only, it started picking from Team Foundation they renamed to Azure DevOps Services, and on-premise version they are calling it as Azure DevOps Server. So from 2018, last 3 years, the growth has been very high. So this is the kind of history I want to share it with you, how this journey of Azure DevOps started at Microsoft. So with around 47% of enterprise market share. So enterprise companies or government based companies, what they want to secure, safely release their products. So those kind of enterprise companies mostly nowadays going for Azure DevOps model, um, because of this advantage of entire application life cycle. It manages and creates visibility to the whole organization. So previously, the days where we have a different tools for agile management, test case management, separate tools for running our automation. So and testing team has to spend time mostly on collecting the metrics and sharing it to the management team. So all these things now becomes under a one umbrella kind of a tree, which is called Azure DevOps, and it has got two flavors. So as you see, first one is cloud offering. It is available anywhere. Second one is on premise. So we'll see one by one. So the major success factor for Azure DevOps is mainly enterprises are selecting Microsoft as the preferred partner, and or it is driven by the organization development stack. So most of the organizations, if they select .NET or based framework for their development stack, so default with the Visual Studio subscription, this Azure DevOps plans and features are free actually. So that is the a major success factor driving this Azure DevOps model for organization to select and go for it. And the last one is usability and very clear documentation. So if you go to this documentation, it is very clear, and for testing team also we have a separate documentation page. We'll discuss that later. And it is another comparison. If you want to compare this Azure DevOps with Jira, there are few points. So like a easy integration, There are a lot of powerful tools. You can quickly integrate with the Office or a Microsoft based products, Excel. So many things you can easily integrate and play with it. And end-to-end traceability, you can quickly create the relationships or links in Azure DevOps very quickly, and capture the end-to-end traceability and customization analytics, Power BI, so many tools, Dynamics 365, so many things you can integrate easily with Azure DevOps, and finally inbuilt tasks and tool sets. So whatever tool sets, so many things you have, um, you can easily use in this Azure DevOps. Okay. So Azure DevOps service on cloud. So this is the first one. So it's up to free up to 5 users. I think for zero also they have a free model of up to 10 users, I remember, but this has a 5 users. And the test plan is the one you want to create maintain a separate test plan kind of feature. That is what it is charged by Microsoft. And if you, as I told, if you have a Visual Studio subscription, enterprise subscription, or a professional, this test plans comes as a free. So that is one advantage on of the Visual Studio subscriptions. So second one is on-premise model. So um uh, on-premise model, if you want to uh, try, there is a 30-day free trial is there. After beyond that, it's a user-based pricing. So once you install this on-premise, you will get a administrator rights for the person who is installing this on-premise on that machine. So that Azure DevOps administrator uh, gives further roles and access to the whole organization. It is installed inside an organization and maintained within the organization. So if you are not connected in your Office network, you cannot access your organization Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps administrator plays these roles like organization settings, backup, taking backups on a weekly basis, and security, maintains the whole security for the organization, creating further project administrators. So many roles this main Azure DevOps administrator plays. So it's a critical role. Okay, so this is what the introduction. Now we are moving to customizing our process. So testing starts with customizing your project. So how do we do? So if you create any new project in Azure DevOps, while creating, you will be seeing advanced option as you are seeing here. So this advanced option is very important. So which selects the work item process. So either it's agile, a basic CMMI or Scrum. So most of the organizations uses agile or Scrum nowadays. So this process we need to select. And second thing is work item customization. So to customize a work item, default they will have list of work items in these process, agile and Scrum, but you want to add your new work item or you want to modify existing work item, all these things are possible. So how it is possible is, for example, take agile process. So agile process, whatever you're seeing in the colors like a epic, under a epic feature can be linked. Under a feature you can link multiple user stories. Under a user story you can create multiple tasks. So these are called work items, like in different colors. So so in agile, what is the difference is you can capture the original estimate, and remaining and completed also you can capture separately. And in Scrum, instead of user stories, you are seeing the only difference is a product backlog. So in this product backlog is the only difference, and you can capture only remaining work in the product backlog. So you cannot capture in the Scrum model like a original estimate. So this is the main difference between Agile and Scrum process. Now comes the inherited process. Suppose I want to create my own process, agile process or a Scrum process for my own organization. there is a way to go to this process settings. Like administrator, he has access to go and create an inherited process, and only that inherited process can be customized. So we need to assign that inherited process what you are creating to your project. We need to assign it to your project. Then you can start customizing this inherited process. So let us take an example of bug work item. So this is a bug work item default in Azure DevOps bug work item. I don't see these many fields, interested fields. I'm interested in to add a field called reproduction type here under planning, which is easy for a developer to understand whether this bug is always reproducible or randomly occurring, like that. So like that, these are my interested fields. How do I add it to the work item? So that is the question I'm just looking at. So we can add a work item or modify this work item bug. Here we have taken an example of bug. So we can modify a work item, and I'm going to add a new fields. That is possible using a with admin. With admin is nothing but a work item admin. So this is a extension for a Visual Studio. If you see here marketplace.visual studio, so this is a Visual Studio extension. Once you install it, it will get added to the Visual Studio, your Visual Studio, and you can open any of your work item files like a XML file, and you can insert new fields into that XML file. So this is little dangerous also. You should not ensure you should not corrupt the work item, that XML files. But the next way of updating is you can customize your work item using direct via UI itself. So now we have a way to, as administrator, we have a way to add a new field directly in the UI. This is my inherited process. For example, test agile is an inherited process. So I can go and add a new field directly here. So in this new field, I can say, for example, I am creating a new field bug type. I'm putting a pick list of values, defect, enhancement, escape defect, and I can ensure this bug type, whether it is a required field, mandatory field, so that any tester raises the defect cannot skip putting this classification, or I can make this field as optional. So this level of customization is possible. So for your organization, you decide which fields are important for which work items you can do it. As I told, you can create totally a new work item. Um, it's up to your organization requirement. Okay. And next customization is important is repository policies. So if you take any repository, even for test automation, we need to maintain a repository. So to how many people they have to review, all those things are set via these branch policies. So to ensure your testing team follows your organization process, you can bring that branch policies. The next thing is gates and approvals. So this is also I recommend we need to customize based upon each organization need. As you see here, there are triggers, pre-deployment approvals, and different gates. So everything will can be customized so that you won't allow to deploy a wrong or unauthorized code into a different environment. So without this approval, it will be difficult um, to manage or unify the team process what you are going to define. Okay. So once that stage is completed only, it will go for the next process. Yep. So you can explore this. Then this is the latest topic of so many organizations uses this change process. Nowadays, service now is ramping up across so many organizations started consuming it. So service now, you can bring up the change process, but that you can integrate with Azure DevOps pipeline. so that the pipeline waits for that change process to complete, so before starting the next stage. So this is also easily possible. So even if you have a different change management process, uh, we can easily integrate. You can build your own extension and publish it to Azure DevOps, a marketplace. So that level of your own extension also you can publish to marketplace. Okay, so all those flexibilities there. Then finally, um, define your test process. Now you have customized your whole project, what it should be, what fields it should be. Now define your test process. So first thing is naming convention. If you have multiple test teams, you agree upon how do we put the naming conventions for different work items, tags, defects, so many things, so that while collecting the metrics, it will be easy if the whole team follows the same naming convention, and agree upon your test approach, what kind of test methodologies you are going to bring into Azure DevOps. And uh, next thing is, how do you create templates for any work item? We can bring up these acceptance criteria, definition of done. If it is a API story, UI story, make like a templating kind of things, so that it is common across different projects and everyone will use the same template for the work items. Okay, so this is what will help you to uh, progress quicker. And this is an important one in the final stage of defining the relationships. So for example, my user story is tested by these test cases. I need to create a link between a user story and a test case with the relationship of tested by. For example, a feature is tested by a test plan. You can create a link between a feature and a test plan. Um, uh, so the reverse also possible. This test case tests this user story. Like that, the reverse link also automatically gets created. And the classification of link, what you're seeing, you can create a link with the build code, and you have a GitHub link also you can create, and requirements storyboard kind of link you can create, and even you can create a hyperlink also for a relationship. It's a hyperlink is an external link. So like that, you can decide how your whole relationship should be maintained in your project. That relationship will give you to generate the end-to-end traceability. So this is what I am telling, very important to define the relationships, so that that also brings the different teams bring it will bring the different teams together by putting common relationship for different work items. Okay, we'll see quickly useful extensions. This is up to you to go and explore. So I have put a one comment like, please approve with your security team. If you are installing any extensions, it may ask you, can I read all your work items? So ensure there are Microsoft based test extensions are there. There are third party extensions are there. So you need to get approval from your security team, which extensions they will certify to you to install it. Okay, this is just a general recommendation. So manual testing, I have put these kind of extensions. So test and feedback, you can just like a you can go through your web-based test case and just record a test case. It's a browser extension. You can record a test case and save that test case into Azure DevOps as a test case. So this is just a record and capture. Whole your test cases are captured and saved as a test case into Azure DevOps. And test case explorer, so it will try to manage your whole test cases very quickly. and offline test execution. Even offline, you can um, update the test results, and at a bulk, you can upload the test results. So this are kind of different plugins. Agile, as I told, so this is the definition of done. So as a tester, if you install this extension across all work items, you will be getting definition of done. So you can create so many templates with this extension. So like that, this slide uh, can be shared, so you explore the extensions what I picked up and collected here. Most of the extensions I have put here is from Microsoft or Microsoft Dev Labs, so that it is mostly certified by Microsoft. So it's for you to explore. So dashboard. So dashboard and widgets, there are so many inbuilt dashboards and widgets. So how do we create our own dashboard? Is my recommendation is create your own queries and configure it in your to show it in your dashboard. That's the best way I recommend you to customize your own queries, and then bring that data as a dashboard to your dashboard. So that's my recommendation. And work items, so work items also I have put lot of work item related extensions. Split is one of the interesting thing. If you want to spill over some items to multiple sprints, so you can split using a split. You can easily split that user story into two, or a task into two, and move it to the next sprint. So many things. So these are all some good extensions. So similarly, repository release and pipeline. So suppose if a test case fails, automatically you can create a defect with this create work item extension. You can add it into your pipeline and create a defect once the your test cases fails. So like that, couple of extensions are really interesting. And test automation is the key thing what interests so many people. Um, so if you see here, these all test automation, what I have captured is a cross-platform testing integration. Cross-platform is nothing but you can run the test in web, mobile, or desktop. So all these frameworks, Xamarin is Microsoft's App Center framework. Browser stack you all know. Same like this Perfecto mobile testing lab, and test complete by smart beer, and this is a cross browser testing extension. So these all are available in Azure DevOps marketplace, so you please go and explore it. So recently this Apply tools, it's a visual kind of automation tool. So it's this plugin is also available. Ranorex is another one. Ranorex Studio is a lot of New Zealand organizations are using this Ranorex also. And so many tools I have captured is mostly cross-platform test automation tools. It's just the integration way into Azure DevOps. If you using this extension, you can show the tests run in these kind of frameworks into Azure DevOps. Okay, so you please go and explore it. And the next life cycle comes is now functional UI, API testing, UI testing is okay. How about performance testing? Performance testing, um, we have these kind of extensions. We can integrate this JMeter, load runner, or blaze meter, any kind of test cases into Azure DevOps with these extensions. uh, Definitely it is possible. So that's what we say, like a complete like life cycle we can bring into Azure DevOps. And security testing. So I think last a week or a couple of weeks before, we had a session about security testing. This OWASP ZAP scanner they integrated and showed. So similarly, we have a lot of plugins to scan your code, check for your vulnerabilities, and those extensions are free. But in the background, this product may charge you, may have different pricing plans, but the extensions to integrate is you can run and show the results into Azure DevOps. Those extensions are free, but definitely it will have a different pricing model. if you want to do integrate a lot of security tools into Azure DevOps. So please, Microsoft, there are two tools available from Microsoft itself. You can see here Azure DevOps Security Scanner and Secure DevOps Kit also there. This is also from Microsoft. This is mostly based upon the cloud related architecture, I would say. Just go and explore it. Okay. Then cloud testing. So a lot of products nowadays comes like a cloud product. So they want to create a new virtual machine. They want to install VMware tools. They after the new virtual machine comes, they want to install their software or product and do the testing. So that's what I would say, like a cloud kind of testing. You need to create a resource. You need to create a storage, you need to create a database in cloud. So those things are also easily possible via Azure DevOps. So whole VMware resource creation we can integrate in Azure DevOps. So these cloud testing tools also there. Terraform is, I think, both AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. All these resources creation is possible through Terraform. So please go and explore these tools for cloud testing. So mostly these extensions helps to bring the visibility of different test methodologies, that brings the test results into Azure DevOps. So that's the reason I was discussing mainly. So next comes the concept of build pipelines. So pipelines is the key thing for our testing team, which delivers the productivity and maintains the whole organization flow. So how do we do that? We'll see. So pipeline key concept is, this is the one. So first thing I am highlighting here is uh, PowerShell scripting skills needed. So this is the one of the needed skill for a testing team nowadays. So because with this PowerShell scripting skills, you can easily configure the pipeline, uh, pass parameters to the pipeline, and extract the artifacts and copy to our location wherever we need it. So those so many things we can play around with this PowerShell scripting. So this pipeline um, is important. So first thing is we can create different stages, and each stage can be triggered by a agent. So you assume like a agent is like a computing machine, so like your Windows machine. You're going and for testing perspective, you assume that you want to run your automation in a currently in a PC. Agent is a nothing but a computing machine where your software is software to run your test automation is installed, so that you can consume that agent and trigger the job of test automation. So you assume um, same like your PC, how do you run your test automation? Same, you virtually in the pipelines, we are adding multiple agents, nothing but multiple machines, so that it triggers your automation job and shows the results. So that way you assume agents plays critical things. So there are a lot of Microsoft hosted agents are there. There is a Windows based agent or Linux or Mac based agents also available. But if you want to create a agent inside your organization, there is a way. So it's like a bringing up your own organization machine into Azure pipelines. That machine should have a required software to run your test automation. So you imagine like that. So this can be achieved uh, uh, and integrated into the pipeline. So agent plays a critical role in the pipeline. So cleaning up the agent and maintain scaling up the agents. Multiple teams started using one agent, it will be very slow. So those are the things as a testing team or a test architect we need to think about it and scale it up so that we can run the test very quickly. Okay. So in the pipeline, we have flavor of different tasks. So if you see here, I've just put up so many tasks. You see build, a utility, test, package, deploy, and tool. So so all kind of inbuilt tasks are there. So first thing is just start creating your prototypes. If a pipeline fails, that is a good sign. So the recommendation is fail fast and build incrementally. And this is applicable for non-production environment. And especially it comes to testing team, we are little safe. What is our ultimate intention is we need to start running our automation scripts. So if a pipeline fails, don't worry. So that it's the logic is fail fast and build incrementally. My intention is I need to integrate assume 5 test cases today as a starting point. I try to achieve that, then build incrementally on top of that. Okay, so that's my simple recommendation. And what is the difference between pipelines and releases? So releases is also a pipeline only. So releases pipeline will be there. So most of the time testing team uses this releases pipeline. So the first pipeline builds the source code, and mostly for we can say it like for a pure development team, we can say this is the pipelines they consume it. And for a release pipeline is what our testing team mostly consume it. We create a release pipeline to run that API automation suite, UI automation suite. So this is what our core interest for testing team. And in running the tests also, there are so many efficient ways are there. In the agents, what I told, you can configure up to 99 agents. For example, a test runs for 10 hours. If you put run the test in a multi-agent and you configure you want to run it in 10 agents, you will run the whole test in 1 hour. So instead of 10 hour, if you configure multiple agents in the agents, and you configure the number of parallel agents where you want to run the test, it will speed up your test run actually. Okay, so this is the way they use this parallel concept of running tests in Azure pipeline. So many organizations are using this multi-agent configuration. And if you want to run the same test in two different browsers at the same time, so this multi configuration is can be used. Okay, so that is also interesting. There is a way to run the test in the test task also. Below the agent, you can see in the test plan tasks also, you can select parallel, but this does not, this is a little complicated subject. It is like a test running successfully in different threads. So mostly I have not seen people are using this run tests parallel in multi-core machines. This concept people are not using, but it's an interesting concept. You can go and read it. But this one I recommend. Multi-agent is the one I recommend. And this is the another interesting thing. So now you have your test cases automated. Second thing is you have a test plan, a manual test plan of test cases available. How do you link your automation test cases to your manual test cases, test case work item? So this concept will give us, otherwise your automated test cases will be independent and show you how many pass or failure, that won't be linked to the actual manual test case work item in Azure DevOps. So this is also a core concept. What team wants to do it programmatically. So you can definitely go and read these articles and try to achieve it. So this is one of the concept which integrates between the automation test case to the links to the manual test case and gives the coverage against the test plan actually. Okay, so once the automation test case runs, it will show the result, like whether that particular test case is pass or fail in this way of linking actually. So this is also a very important concept for any organization. And customizing release trigger. So yeah, if you see the trigger, there are multiple triggers are available in Azure DevOps, uh, like a continuous deployment. Like once the code is a build is ready, a new build is ready, automatically it can trigger a deployment. Or if somebody checks in a code, new code, and a new pull request or a PR review is created, they can trigger the automatically trigger the tests actually against your build. Okay, and this release trigger is another one. So suppose I can schedule a release trigger to run it on a particular time on this weekly schedule. So this is also possible. For example, I want to run the smoke test every day morning. I can schedule a trigger in this way, configure it in the pipeline so that it automatically runs at every day 5 o'clock. Okay, or if you can customize this scheduled trigger also using a cron job. So same like a Linux cron job. So we have a cron utility in Azure DevOps pipeline also. We can consume this cron, and we can create customized schedule so that automatically that test cases will be started at that time what we have put. Okay, and next concept in the pipeline, main use of pipeline is for automated regression testing. So as you all know, this is a real challenging thing for many organizations to maintain the stable automated regression suite. This automated regression suite is needed, for example, any major minor hotfix releases, or nowadays every month, or for every organization, they need to patch their OS, um, and if they are partnered with so many vendors and their partner APIs or their stack is changing, we need to run the automation or any technology changes. So they have, if they are bringing new firewall component, they have to verify the changes. And browser update also, every 2 3 weeks we are getting new browser versions, or a new mobile OS versions. So any version of time changes, we need to run the full automated regression. So this automated regression yields most of the return on investment. If it is automated, we can achieve a lot of um, cost savings in terms of testing. So or quickly find the defects. So both the ways, this automated regression helps the whole organization. So this pipeline plays a key role in maintaining this automated regression testing suite very stable. Or we should also think about creating multiple levels in this automated regression testing. So this is the key thing I want to say. Um, Start creating a stable automated regression suite either for API or a UI. So any layers of testing, start creating and maintaining more stable automated regression testing suite using the pipelines what you are planning to create. Okay, so pipeline challenges. So it may look very simple. So many inbuilt tasks are there. So many things are plug and play kind of things are there. Won't it be that much easy? So the answer is no. I mean, you need to definitely spend a little time, as I told. Uh, you need to analyze the agents on any failures, analyze the logs, why the pipeline fails, why your tests are fails, why as per your organization need you are not able to run the tests and collect the results. So on test failures, you may need to spend more time in analyzing the pipeline. So that is what the key thing. So once you make the pipeline starts working, um, and stable, these challenges will go one by one, but these are a couple of challenges in the pipeline. So most of the organizations say that even in test scripts, it's okay to have plain passwords. So, but as per the security audit, they recommend to remove the plain passwords even from automated test scripts. So some of the challenges can be addressed, but we need to, as a testing or community, we need to make that more stable, or best practices we need to bring into uh, to address these challenges. So I would say these are the main challenges when you face while you start integrating with pipelines your tests. Okay, so yeah, the next area is how do you create visibility. So now you have pipelines, automatically it runs your test, you have defined your whole test process. um, so now what comes creating visibility. So most of the organizations now goes with hybrid work culture. We are testing from home, we are testing from uh, uh, couple of days only we are going to office, remaining days we are testing from home. So how do we create this visibility in testing? That is the key thing we need to discuss here. One thing is, we need to encourage building health monitors. So before I trigger my automation suite, I need to go and check these health monitors, this environment, what is the state of the health of this APIs, or whether the UI or database servers or sync services, whether all these things are good, in good health and running. This is the key thing in creating visibility. So without this, if I start the test and if it fails, I need to spend more time on after failure analyzing the failure, why it is happening. So these health monitors will help in the first proactiveness or preventing some failures to occur. So if something is not good, we can go and talk to the corresponding team. So this is the main thing which creates visibility and helps the testing team in any organization in this hybrid work culture. Okay, so we need to try to build this. Second thing is our metrics. So we built the pipeline, we are so many test plans are running, and we need to bring up these metrics. How many defects I am getting by running this test automation? Last 5 sprints, how many defects my test automation caught very quickly? So these kind of metrics, what we say like a trend, we need to bring it to the board, and which will be visible to the whole organization, whole team, I would say. So it will help us to continuously improve. So testing team also continuously improve by analyzing these trends actually. So how many test cases are failing due to test script issues? So many things we can classify and bring it to the metrics. So this creates the next level of visibility. And finally, visualize your team capacity. So if you're planning any sprint, go and visualize how much time you're going to spend in the sprint on what activities. So just put your effort, capture your team capacity, and load your tasks. So nobody will create tasks for you. It is for you. You have to create your tasks on day one of the sprint. If something you are not able to load yourself, there is something wrong. Either you are not having enough work, or you may be having too much of work. So just as a best principle or a best practice, you try to load yourself on day one. That gives you more control, I would say, to bring the visibility, what tasks you are closing on daily basis. Once you create all your tasks, it's up to you to progress on your tasks. So this 80% task loading concept, you try to bring more visibility in this hybrid work culture. So Yeah, so we talked about so many things. We are almost to the end part of the presentation. So uh, we need to apply this explore concept every sprint or every periodic, what you prefer. It's a kind of learning for you. So even in Azure DevOps, they are releasing these new releases. For example, you can see the frequency of new releases. So I got so many new features monthly or every 2 months or something, you can see here. So at least go and look at what is interesting for our testing community. For example, this November release, we got a automatic retries for a task. So such kind of new features comes in the new releases. So please keep exploring these new releases. And this is the documentation I spoke about for the whole testing. So whole testing is arranged in a very better way. So you can even see here, how do we associate automated test cases with automated tests with test cases, also put up here. I have copied from here. So this is a whole testing kind of documentation available in Azure DevOps for our testing community. Please go and explore. So explore, you should keep like a periodic activity. Okay. And the last part is get Microsoft certified. It's one of the top demanding skills in the market. So in Azure DevOps, can I be certified person? Yes, you can be. So this AZ 400 is the expert certification. So please give a try. So there are a couple of prerequisites are there. Uh, so this is one of the demanding skill in the New Zealand and Australian market. So please give a try. It will be really good. And learning. So there are a lot of learnings. Uh, I recommend, there are very good in plural site as well as LinkedIn. So I have captured here. So if you get these slides or the presentations, or you can even search by this keyword in plural site or LinkedIn, you get these online learnings, which are all really good online learnings. You have a special course for the whole test strategy, end-to-end testing also here in plural site. So please go and explore. Um, I think I came to the end of the presentation. Really, thank you all.
Cool, brilliant. Vignesh, we've got a couple of questions. We can take that now.
Sure, Ronak.
So first one says from Vishal Thakur, who says, can you please brief how to integrate JMeter with ADO?
Yeah, so um, JMeter is again a kind of extension, right? So once we download the extension, there is a way to trigger, for example, to trigger the JMeter, there are certain requirements. You need definitely a machine capable of running the load test. So that machine has to be bring up as a agent. Either that agent has to be your on-premise hosted agent, or a Microsoft agent which has the capacity, the configuration to run the load test as per your need. Actually, these many cores, these many CPUs, this much size should be there. So once you bring up the agent, it is the next task is to configure your scripts to run it. So that is what the next step I would say. So I may be saying like a logical way of doing it, but I would say, like, once you try these and face any issues, definitely I can help you. But I have tried this, um, uh, bringing up a JMeter, running the tests via Azure DevOps. So definitely I can help you. But this is the logical sequence I am explaining here. First, focus on how do you bring up the agent, then install the required software to run the JMeter scripts. That's the next part. Then finally, getting the results can be very easy. Yep.
Good, sounds good. There's another one from PK. Is data-driven testing supported in Azure DevOps? Where is the test data maintained?
Uh, uh, I would say it's like a test data will be maintained in a repository only. Some of the organizations has the test data like a JSON file or something. Some of the organizations configure the test data into secure files. For example, like a vault, key vault also we can integrate, or they can keep it in a library, group of data in a library files in Azure DevOps. Um, or it can be a normal files where you can go and read the data, but it should be like a configure it should be like a repository kind of configuration, or it can be in the library, or it comes from the active directory. Some cases the user logins or those kind of credentials, it comes from the active directory. But if it is a generic data for the normal your test scenarios, it can be configured in any format and can be readable.
Cool,
Yeah.
sounds good. There are a couple of more questions. The next one is from Shivram. Have you come across any extension or a way to visualize testing burn down? How much test execution were team able to achieve on a given day?
uh, Yes, definitely. So, as I told, there is a different health charts we can build. So there is a team health chart is also available in marketplace. So there is a team project health extension is available in marketplace. So that extension we can tweak it to configure for our testing team. Also, we can, as I told, the best way is to build our queries, and from that queries we can drill down. Also, mainly, would request the person to explore the inbuilt widgets. Definitely, there are a lot of burn down related widgets are there. Uh, we can easily achieve this, Ronak. Yeah.
Cool, sounds good. And here's the last one, a really good one. Any suggestion of avoiding test environment pollution when multiple tests are triggered simultaneously?
Yes, so it is controlled. There is a concept like a batch or a, grouping concept, even in allowing the next test in the queue. For example, one test is already in progress in a particular environment. We can hold the next test until it completes, and the next test starts with the group of new check-ins or new build available with multiple check-ins. In some of the organizations, if they trigger the build for every check-in, there is a concept where they can group until the current tests run completes. Don't start the next execution. We can control it in the gates and approval in the staging process. Yeah.
Cool, sounds good. I think we've got a couple of minutes. I'll sneak one of my questions too. So you mentioned about the health monitors, which is brilliant. We really need to make sure before even we running the test, all the infrastructure dependency are up and available. So how do you plan to implement those health monitors? Would they be like tests or would they be like pings to different things? What's the approach from an implementation point of view?
Yeah, so it need not be in a it need not be in Azure DevOps environment. For example, we can use, for example, I have heard about the SCOM. So SCOM is a whole monitoring system infrastructure provided by Microsoft. SCOM. So it can check the health of different servers. It can integrate our APIs and to see the response. Like you told, it's a organization intelligence. How do they want to check the health? For example, in my previous experience, uh, uh, they have integrated the health of the sync services. Sync service runs in a particular duration. So they built the intelligence. If they don't get update or a certain logic in the DB within this time period, say that there is some problem in the sync services. And couple of servers, like what you are saying, it can be a direct ping whether it is available or not, but that intelligence comes from the each organization's requirement, and given as a requirement to the team to implement it. Okay, so uh,
Yeah,
it can be either way. So APIs are direct, Ronak. API microservices can directly go and check whether its health is there. If microservices partnered with a vendor API, it can do a health check against the vendor API, and that can be considered as a healthy if it is running. Our vendor API is also running. So such kind of logic we can easily implement. um,
cool.
Microservice can check its own database whether it is able to connect, and it is available. So health can
Yeah,
be also detailed health, or a very sanity kind of health. Both health levels also we can think in health monitors.
cool, cool. Thanks, Vignesh. Hey, this brings us to the end of SIGiST webinar. So, firstly, thank you, Vignesh, for making time. Azure DevOps itself is so powerful. So, thanks for giving those insights. In addition to that, giving us some information around the extensions for Azure DevOps, specifically the ones that are relevant to testing. That was brilliant. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ronak. Thank you everyone for listening. Yep,
So, thank
it
you.
will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, thanks everybody to for listening in. We are right on time. So if all of these live webinars are getting automatically uploaded on a YouTube channel and Facebook page too. So if any of your friends or colleagues have missed out on this webinar, you guys could just subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page to listen into this presentation. So yeah, this brings us to our last biggest event for this year. We've got a lot many scheduled for next year. So yeah, just wanted to say take care all. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you guys.
Yep. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.